The president went on primetime television this week to tell the nation everything is awesome and that anything that's not is Joe Biden's fault. Here are the facts. Inflation is about the same as it was when Biden left office 11 months ago. Gas prices are down, but not as low as the president claims. Unemployment is up, but so is the stock market. It's a mixed bag that's neither awesome or completely bad. It depends on your circumstances. Here's my conversation with the author of Rethinking Economic Growth, Dan Varroney.
We're ready to go anytime.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2. Dan, thanks for joining me. You know, the November report, the jobs report, shows that only 64,000 jobs were added after a big October loss, with unemployment now hitting 4.6%. What does that reveal, do you think, about where the labor market is? Is it stabilizing, or are we headed into tougher times?
I think, candidly, the labor market is stabilizing. What I will tell you that it's no secret that since the spring, when we saw the downward revisions of almost 800,000 jobs, and then later downward revisions of almost 1 million jobs, that there was a lot of concern. And then we had the government shutdown. But the bottom line is that as we look at things today, we are clearly stabilized and poised for an upswing in 2026.
How is the Trump team spinning these numbers? I mean, I know everything is viewed through a political lens these days. What is the narrative the White House is trying to push? And are they cherry picking the data just like the Biden administration was accused of doing? I mean, whoever's in power is trying to sell the American people on the most positive view of the American economy, because really, all said and done, the economy for most people is what truly matters when it comes to who they put their confidence into.
So one of the things that I do, and whoever the party or person in power is, the data is the data, right? So I'm a data-driven person. In my new book, it's all about the data. So let's look at what the data tells us. So the big thing, Paul, is, I've really tried to drill down on where we are in the economy. So we're coming out of a situation where we spent $7 trillion, and then we had regulations that were excessive. And what most people must understand is that there's a cost to those $1.4 trillion in regulations that the Biden administration implemented. And what I mean by that is when people say, why are things still unaffordable and President Biden is no longer in power? Well, because it takes time to unwind all those regulations. So from an economic perspective, we still have inflation that's a bit high at 2.8%. But what I'll say to you is that there are things that give me optimism and hope, like today, the price per barrel of oil coming down to $55.
I know you're a data-driven guy and the numbers don't lie, and I'm all for facts and not feelings, but the economy is experienced in different ways by different people, and I'm right there with you when it comes to the oil. We did a 6-minute deep dive last week on this show on the price of oil and how that trickulates down to the price of gas that you pay at the pump. It seems like people experience this economy in different ways, different pressure points, different dividends, you might say, on the good things and the not so good things. Like if you were recently laid off, or you were laid off 6 months ago, even anecdotally, we're hearing that it's taking longer for people to get rehired or to find a job. They're sitting on the sidelines longer. And I'm just wondering, there is good, there is bad, and for some folks, there's downright ugly in this economy right now. They're going to food banks. We report on it every night here on our TV station. At what point does President Trump own this economy, full stop, the good, the bad, the ugly, and he can't blame Biden anymore? It would seem that that point is now. I mean, no excuses.
So here's what I would tell you. I tell everyone, my Republican friends and my Democrat friends, is that you've got to give the new administration 18 months. At the end of 18 months, you get a sense of whether it worked or it didn't. So at the end of the 18 months in the first Trump administration, it was clear that it worked. So next month, it'll be 12 months. And I think that as we get to June 30th, we're going to have some clear indicators. And the reason why I think we're going to have clear indicators is because the new tax law, the Big Beautiful Bill, will be in full effect after the first of the year. People will see higher wages in their take-home because the withholding will be lower. They'll get tax refunds that they didn't see, somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000. They'll see goods and services, especially food, become more affordable. They'll see shelter and housing become more affordable. And I think that from my perspective, as we get into the first and second quarter of next year, the Trump administration is going to own whatever it is because their policies will be in full effect. Policies meaning the tax policy, policies, spending meaning the spending policy and budgeting, and then third, the regulatory policy. So we'll get a sense of what is or isn't working, and they will own that as we move into the first and second quarter of next year.
Well,
and again, I'm consistent with every administration.
We are 6 years into this decade of the 2020s, and I'm looking back, a year that ends in 6, hardly you ever have a bad year economically, maybe except for the 70s. But you're 6 years into a decade. That time is usually well defined. This is the second time around for Trump. Your gut here, maybe less so numbers and more of a gut check. What do you think about 2026?
Yeah, let me give you my gut on this. Again, because I did a year and a half worth of research for a book. Here's what I'm just going to give it to you straight. Here's what I see. First of all, small business is the driver of job creation in the U.S. economy. And everybody says it, but I'm going to give it to you with the facts. 2 of 3 every private sector jobs comes from small businesses. When you look at the 100% expensing for plants and equipment that goes into full effect in January, I believe that come the second quarter, we are going to start to see robust hiring again. And as we get into the third and fourth quarter of 2026, we are going to have robust job creation, and the economy is going to be on much better footing. The other thing that I'll add to this conversation is that the retail sales numbers came out today, and they're up 3.5% year over year. That number doesn't give me pause, it gives me optimism. But essentially what I'm saying to you is that I feel like the economy is far better poised to do very well next year. And I think it's because prices will come down, inflation will ease, people will have more money in their pockets. Wages are up. I think wages will increase as we get into the second, third, and fourth quarters of 2026.
Dan Varroney, author of Rethinking Economic Growth. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for your time.